welcome to Avio's Journey. It is Fiverr Friday. Woo! It's great to be here with you today. Thank you so much for joining me from Instagram, from YouTube, from Twitter, from Facebook. It's great to have you. It is the 1st of May. Wild, isn't it? It is the 1st of May. A lot of crazy things happening in our country today, but it is wonderful, as always, to be with you. And this is, of course, Avio's Journey, and this show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. You know what I realized? I realized that I don't know if I ever actually introduced myself. I'm Anthony, and I don't know if that's actually ever said. So yeah, hi, my name is Anthony. Great to meet you. If you are new to Fiverr Fridays, basically how this goes down is I give a little spiel, and while I'm giving my little spiel, you can post questions, comments, and this really is a Q&A session on Fridays for people looking to grow their Fiverr business, interested and trying to learn more about the platform and how they can just get something going. So anyway, so while that's happening, please feel free to post your questions, thoughts, comments, whether it's on Instagram or on YouTube and in the chat. I'd love to answer them and have a great conversation with you about them today. I've got my swag on, my homemade Fiverr gear, and it has been an amazing April, one of the best months on Fiverr that I've ever had. So not the best month, but the second best month, and the best month by far this year, and so that's a good thing. Also, I think that, I want to address something that's happened this week. So if you follow me, and I know so many of you do, thank you. Unfortunately, I was not live on Monday. I was live on Tuesday, but then Wednesday and yesterday I was not live. And basically, we've been kind of going through a little challenging things. My son was sick, and he had gotten tested for COVID-19, and fortunately it came back negative, so we're very blessed about that, but he was still sick. So on top of that, we had to have him quarantined for a while until we found out. Then once we found out, I decided I'd take him back to the doctors, to his pediatrician, to see if he was, what was actually wrong. So they did a whole series of tests, and they come back at, now he does have asthma, so, during this time of year too, he gets sick occasionally. And so anyways, there was all of that, and it's just been absolutely crazy. So I do apologize that I have been lacking this week on coming on to lives, but hopefully, I posted a video the other day, and thank you so much for the amount of wonderful support and views and comments that video has been getting. And that one was how to make a epic voiceover sample, and absolutely love it. It's the method I use for all sorts of things, and that's a great video. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. It'll really help you marketing. Also, if you get a real chance before we dive in today, go ahead and subscribe to this to YouTube. If you are on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, retweet, share, all that jazz. I would really appreciate it. Please feel free to leave comments and your questions, as always, in the chat. But that's also something that I wanted to remind you. And also, you have about a little under 24 hours to join Fiverr Elite for tomorrow's meeting. If you're interested in that, it's a great group of people that meet every Saturday. We come together, multiple top-rated sellers in that group. It's a blast, and the whole point of that is to come together, grow our businesses, work with each other. We do reviews, use stats and analytics to help grow our business, and would love for you to be a part of it. So if you're interested, you can find the link below or back on the website, et cetera, et cetera. So with all of that stuff out of the way, let's talk about what I posted as the title today. And it's really interesting. I was working with a mentor student earlier today, And, as we were going through Fiverr and I was just talking about some things to become familiar with, I pointed out that a lot has changed on Fiverr even since I joined a few years ago. And, some of the biggest things that have changed is just the sheer amount of people that have joined the site, right? And also the amount of gigs and offerings. When I first started 3 years ago or so, it was I guess there was about 6,000 or 7,000 different gig offerings. Okay, and now as of today, I looked, there was 16,200. So you're talking quite a bit of growth. Now, mind you, this is just voiceover and under the voiceover section. That does not include, all the other voiceover parts that are in different sections, right? Which Fiverr now has multiple ones. But the reason why I titled the piece today that Fiverr is looking a lot like voices.com is because if you look at the thumbnails, okay, you'll start to notice, right? If you go on, and I challenge you to do this and to see if you think I'm right. If you go on to voices.com and you go all the way down to the bottom and you scroll down to the bottom, they have a ribbon. And one of the first things on the bottom top right is it says what the top 100. You pull that up and what you will see is, right, a list of the top 100, and then there's the males and females. And if you look at those pictures, right, they're very professional looking headshots, right? I mean, it's like Hollywood headshots almost looking, right? These are really professional headshots from these people who are in the top 100. And then if you go over to Fiverr, right, in the voiceover section, what will you see? You will begin to notice that more and more pictures are becoming more like that. Actually, the headshots are moving over from not even having words on them. More and more people are posting just straight up great looking headshots of themselves. All right. Now, people like me, I still have my picture, a headshot with writing on it, which I still love and I still think is very viable. But you're starting to see a shift. Okay, even more so. And it makes sense in the fact that Fiverr is trying their hardest, as we've talked about before, to move themselves from this. Fiverr is low cost, low paying, not very good services to high paid, excellent professionals. And we know as people on Fiverr, we work darn hard and we're good at what we do. So that name that Fiverr brings with it in the past no longer means what Fiverr is now and what we are making it, because we make Fiverr, right? We make it what it is. So, but you're starting to see this shift in all things. And, I talk about all the time about being professional. I do a lot of Fiverr gig reviews. And, the first thing I always talk about, right, is looking at your thumbnail and your pictures and how professional does it look? Is it formatted correctly? Does it show up? I mean, are you presenting yourself in a manner in which someone would pay for you to do work for them, but would they pay for you just by the presentation that you're putting out there in your thumbnail? And I think that's an important distinction. And it really does look, and like I said, I challenge you to do this. Go to voices.com, go to some of these other, but go to voices.com, the top 100, and you'll start to see there is, the thumbnails and everything go on the front, the couple front pages of Fiverr too for voiceover artists, and you'll start to see these pictures, things are looking, and it didn't used to do that. Like things used to look a lot differently on Fiverr. It is evolving, and why I'm telling you this is because I feel like it's super important that we evolve with it. We change with it. Everything with the world, everything going on, we've got to constantly evolve. Don't be stuck in the past. Right? Don't be stuck in the past, because if you get stuck in the past, you will never be able to see the opportunities coming your way. You will constantly overlook them. All right? And I hate to say it, but the past dies. Time marches on. So please be aware of that. Please focus. So if you look at your site, your gigs on Fiverr, or even and by the way, this goes for anything that we do. Your website. I've been talking a lot more about websites recently, and our personal websites, and how I think there is a viable source there more so than just a place card or, a fancy, expensive calling card for who we are, but more of a place to curate business from if we can, get in the rankings by posting content. But the point is does your website look great, or is it crappy? I mean, just to be honest, with lack of a better word right now, you know what I mean? Does your thumbnails look great or do they look crappy? And be honest, right? Not that the picture you fished out of the back of your computer from those 3 years ago that you took in your living room with the plant in the background and it looks, I'm serious. You know what I'm talking about, right? We all have those pictures randomly on our computer, and when we got to find one, we go to try to grab it. Oh, crap, they need a picture. And we put up whatever picture we have access to, all right? That's not the way we want to present ourselves. And it's so interesting because the top 2 questions I always get, whether it's Fiverr or whatever, is how do I get started in voiceover and how do I get business? That's it. Those are that's 99, and I mean literally. And by the way, I have a VO's Journey Facebook group. We're getting close. We're getting close to 800 members in that group, which is wonderful. But I make everybody who joins that group just ask. I ask them a couple questions. One of the questions is, how much or what's their most pressing voiceover question right now? And the 2 questions I get 99% of the time. And it's crazy. It's like, it's almost like I don't know. It's almost like it's a book somewhere, right? But it's the same exact questions. How do I get started? Where do I start, et cetera? How do I get started? And how do I get more business? How do I get more work? How do I find more work? It's how to get started and it's how to get more business. And the big way here, we're talking about Fiverr, is you've got to present yourself in a manner in which it matches how good you are. And this is something interesting too. I've been, like I said, I do a lot of reviews and I see this a lot. So many of you are so talented. You guys are incredible. You're amazing. You bring your own unique take to the work that you do. It sounds wonderful. Sure, can we all get better? Yes, of course. Can our acting get better? Always. The best actors in the world are always striving to be better, okay? But it's still wonderful. But what happens is that amazing talent that you have, is it being covered up by a crappy presentation of it? Okay? And I mean that by your copy. I mean by your written copy, right? Your sales copy or your description, which I like to call sales copy instead. Your thumbnail, your title, the way you're pricing, the story. And you know me, I love the story underneath the story. We're all telling a story underneath the story. Do you know what I mean? Like if you put in the description, right? If you work with me, you're going to get the best voiceover ever. You know what would be funny if someone actually just did that? You know what I mean? Work with me if you want the best voiceover ever. Just say, you put one line in your description. It's ballsy. That would be funny. But the thing is like, what story are you telling with the information you're giving out? Right? Because it's not just the information you're giving out or how much you fill out your gig or the great picture you put. Yes, that's telling a story of who you are, but you're also telling a story of how professional you are, what you believe in. Right? Do you believe that you need to be giving more, more information? And do you believe that it's important for people to know exactly what they're getting in the process? Do you respect people enough when you say things like what you will and will not do? Are you respectful enough to people to make sure you word that in a manner and it's not going to offend people? And what I mean by offending people is you're going to be like, I will not work with you if you do this, or, do not ever do that. I see that often. And I understand why, because Lord knows I've been on Fiverr long enough and worked with people who've been challenging. But the reality is if I go somewhere and somebody keeps putting, do not do this, do not order that, do not contact me for this, I'm like, well, they don't really seem like they want to work with me. When in essence, that's not what you were really saying. You're really saying, please just don't do these things. I only do these things. But we didn't put it in a manner. We didn't present it in a manner that showed people that they would really want to work with us. And that's the whole idea here. Okay. So again, going back to how I titled this whole thing, I'm really noticing, hopefully you are, more and more people are joining Fiverr. More and more the prices are going up. More and more companies and businesses are coming to Fiverr. It is inevitable. It is inevitable. It's happened. It's happening. People, I mean, this has been going on for years. Fiverr has been around now for, I mean, gosh, it's been what, 2000, was it 2011, 10? I can't even remember when Fiverr started, but it's been, I think they had their 10-year anniversary. Maybe they're, I could be really wrong. I know it's long. I know they've been around longer than 10 years, or it's been 10 years. It's darn close if it's not been. I could be completely wrong. Somebody knows how long actually Fiverr's been around, but it's been a while. They're not a new company. This is not a new thing, right? So, this is a publicly traded company too. I mean, and it's a big thing. So I would really just work on, again, paying attention to the shifts and shifting with it. All right. Okay, so hopefully at this point you've got some questions, you write some stuff down. Please feel free to ask some questions about what's going on with you on Fiverr. Maybe you're wondering about, maybe you're like, hey, you said you have your best month, Anthony, but I had my worst month. What's the deal? Why, I've got a customer who is, trying to make me do XYZ and I don't want to do XYZ. How much should I pay for this? How much should I charge for that? If you got any questions, go ahead and post them now, either on, whether it's, sorry, I say, is it double A shaker, or it kind of goes like ass shaker, but it's not. I know, on Instagram, which is funny. So that's cute. But I want to welcome everybody. Let's see. We got Connor. We got House Broker. What's up? Double A shaker. Double A shaker. The motor mouth. I like that. It's been 10 years. Thank you, Double A shaker. It's been 10 years. That's awesome. And then over on let's see, and thank you, Double A shaker, for saying those kind words. We got Shabba, what's up? We've got Angela. Angela's had an amazing month on Fiverr as well. What's up, Eric? It's good to have you, my friend. Let's see, Zach, it's good to have you, buddy. Yes, he is. He is feeling better, ornery as ever. Let's see, Frank. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Heath, what's up? Yes, it's good to have you. Jeremy, what's up? My man, Tom J. Hello. It was 6 minutes after the hour before I could find your live stream today. Yeah, I had to tell you, even with our internet, like earlier today, everybody in the family was like, the internet, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know. And I'm going around and the internet was down and they were, I got this message, or I went on and I called my provider and they're like, yes, the internet is out in your neighborhood. I'm like, oh no. It's so funny, right? Like, of all the things, it's like I could be out of so many things, but not the internet. Which is scary, right? Because we're so dependent on it. Fortunately, I do have my phone, but as you can see, the internet's back up and working. But that is a little scary. So let's see. But they've done a good job. All right. So Eric says, hello everyone. I still haven't even done a DIY demo. DIY demo, I know what you mean, let alone gotten a gig. Samples I recorded about 3 years ago sound quite awful to me now. Yeah, a serious redo of everything is in order. Absolutely, man. Just go for it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Do it. Go for it. Absolutely. Not that it's a shameful plug, but I'm going to do a shameful plug. I have a production team. We do demos. We offer demos. We've been doing a lot of demos. We've done about 6 to 8 demos this month, and it's been absolutely wonderful. So if you're interested in getting a new demo, we're actually really affordable too, because I think that's important. You could check that out. And I know we talked about that another session, and somebody was asking some great questions. So but Eric, you don't need me to do it. I mean, I've made a video about making a DIY demo. You can do it on your own. So, go for it. Don't be stuck in the past. Thanks, Anthony. That slap in the face wake up call couldn't have come at a better time. Oh, you're welcome, man. Dave G, swags wanker. That's right. Let's see. Eric says, my buyer and I have agreed upon a time extension on a gig. He wants me to extend the time. What are the steps to do that task? Okay, great question. So, in a gig, okay, there is, and on Fiverr, we have what's called a resolution center. And I noticed a lot of people, especially newer people, I was scared to use this. It actually happened to me first. I ordered something and someone entered into a dispute with me. I'm like, what is going on? I freaked out about it. I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. I just ordered something from somebody. But basically what it is the resolution center is the place you go to either cancel an order, to extend an order, okay, to that kind of stuff. And basically in the upper right hand corner of a gig. So if you go to your gig, all right, in the upper right hand corner, there's a little green box when you pull up the actual order, all right, and it says visit the resolution center. You click on that, and once you click on that, it's going to bring up a series of things. One of those options are going to be to extend delivery time, and then it will run you through two different. There'll be a box that comes up that says explain why you need to extend time. You'll explain it, and then you go, and then it goes to the next section. Well, it'll ask you to explain it to the customer and then how much extra time you need. You plug all that in, you hit send, that will send it to them. They will either accept it or deny it. If they accept it, you're good to go. It extends it. If they don't, you know what I mean, then it's not going to, and it's late. Now, here's a little thing. You get up to 2 days to do that, but it still registers as being late up to that point if you do it, you know what I mean, at the end. That's why I'm a big advocate. If you get to a point where someone is not responding to you and you have tried everything and you can't move forward, it is better to deliver the gig, even if it's incomplete, and put in the section there that you have, because remember, they've already paid. So it's not like they're paying that they haven't already paid, okay? It's just an escrow. But deliver the gig and put in there, please go ahead and put in revision once you get me the extra materials or we can move forward. Because I've had that happen a lot where people actually try something and I can't move forward without them giving me extra information or something. And then when they do that, I'm like, okay, thank goodness. But if I don't have the information and there's only like 30 minutes left, what are you going to do? You don't want it to be late. I just submit it. Ask them to say, hey, I have no problem. I had to submit this because time was almost up. If but once you give me that information, just hit the revision button and I'll be happy to finish it for you. It works all the time. It happens to me regularly. And I do this. I've used this technique for years. It works great. I realized at one point, wait, listen, people, and you know what's crazy? No one has been offended by it. I've never gotten in trouble for it. No one's ever been offended by it. And people actually usually respond. Like this is another technique. If you have someone who orders from you and they don't give you the information, right? And it's just kind of in la la land. You know what I mean? It's right in that place where it says, hold on, waiting for requirements. And then it goes like a day, 2 days, 3 days, and they never give the requirements. You're like messaging them, hey, I need the requirements. Literally put the gig through, deliver it, and say, please send the requirements. Okay. Or if someone's put it through and then not, gave you like I'll send the requirements tomorrow. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's a legit reason, like they're not done completed. They wanted to lock in a price, or I've heard all kinds of different things, but it's very helpful to deliver the gig, put everything that you want to say in the little delivery notes and let them make the decision. Because remember, in order to order from us, they have to pay up front. It's just in an escrow pot. So it's not like we're taking the money from them. They've already paid. We're just trying to move the process along. And I have never had a situation where I've delivered something and they've not gotten back to me pretty quickly, even after days of not responding to me. It's very interesting. Anyways, great question. Let's see. B-Dog at 45. Fiverr turned 10 in February. Yep. Nice. Martin Brill. I knew they had their anniversary. I couldn't remember what it was. Martin Brill. Hi, Anthony. Why the audio quality on Fiverr's gig is so low? Is there a trick to have a better audio quality or special setting to apply? Martin, great question. This is something that all of us, especially on the voiceover side, have been very angry and upset about for a long time and have talked to Fiverr continuously about it. But to no avail, they just don't seem to do anything. Basically, what Martin's talking about, if you haven't noticed, which is sad because a lot of voiceover artists do this and they think something's wrong with their work. But basically, when we submit an MP4, okay, a video file, whatever Fiverr does to the video files, I don't know if they have, we've all like surmised maybe they have some background compression going on or something, but it sounds horrendous. Okay, which is awful because the whole point of what we do, right, is to have great sounding audio. So that's the worst. Now, the samples as well as the MP3 files, they all sound fine. If you go through your files, you'll notice that it's just the video file that sounds that way, which is a shame because the video file is, right, the extra 40% engagement, and we're all trying to get those video files up. So unfortunately, Martin, there is no extra settings to apply. Something could be said, and I've even seen it where people have tried it, when they do it without music, etc. But it doesn't matter. And it didn't always used to be that way, because when I first uploaded my stuff too and things, it didn't sound like that. So whatever happened, Fiverr applied some sort of, and it might have been to help other people, throughout the platform who didn't know what they were doing. I don't know why, but it does sound really bad. But unfortunately, Fiverr's not fixed it yet, and I don't see them fixing it because it's been a while. So the best thing to do is to not worry about it, because if someone listens, they'll notice everybody sounds that way. Okay, because they do. So good question though, Martin. Let's see. Artist. I like that name. Artist. Hello, sir. Sir Artist. Neil. What's up, Neil? Good to have you. Artist, it is nice to have you here, my friend Frank. I have a customer. It gives me 2,000 word scripts. It takes me about 2 hours to read. 2 hours to read 2,000 words. That's tough, my friend. Is it a tough script? I'll keep reading. Look up foreign words. Yes. Oh, I've done those, and it takes forever. Is there anything I can do to speed up the process? What do you do for long reads? Absolutely, Frank. You make them send you the audio files of them saying the words. So this is something that when I was first starting out, actually not first starting out, maybe about a year ago or so, I started getting a lot of scripts, Russian, even Middle Eastern script with words that I don't speak. I just speak English and poorly. So I don't even, but so I don't speak any other language. And there's clearly languages that some languages I might be a little easier to say, but there's some that it's really, so, and Chinese as well. And I remember one script I got. It was literally was a walkthrough of a museum. It was an opening of a museum, and I was doing, I guess, the overall narration that people would walk through the museum and listen to. And it was, it had places. So we had demographics, we had terms. So like every other word was a word of a foreign language that I didn't speak, and different places throughout this large country. And so it was hundreds of foreign words that I didn't speak. And I asked them, I made them, give me the way to pronounce them, and they literally sent me like over 236 files. Okay, and so to answer your question, make sure up front that you always review the script at least a little bit, right, and see if it's those words, and then make them send you, all right, the recordings of it. Okay, this is important. It's so important because not only is it important for you, and it reduces the time like crazy, but also they might say it differently than what it has on YouTube, right? Because some of the robots that you use on YouTube to say some of the words are not how they're said. And we've all gotten burned by that before. And we're trying to say the word the way it's said here. It sounds like it, but you're saying it sounds wrong. So you make them tell you. And if they ask, well, I don't know how to do that, they can literally record a file on the phone through Fiverr and send it. Because Fiverr actually has, and I don't know if you realize this, but if you go onto your Fiverr account, there is a little, if you go to your Fiverr account, there's actually a little guy that pops up. It's I've seen this. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's I believe it's when you're, let's see. Yeah, it's when you're buying, okay? They've added this little person in a wheelchair. I don't know if you've seen this. And if you click on that, it actually will allow you to record and stuff. I think it's for people who have maybe maybe their hearing is not as good as as it needs to be or whatever for the site, and they have some different options there. But people can simply record on their phone, send you a file. It's so important to have them do that. Believe me. And yes, I think the Russian is tough for me. And Chinese, I mean, all the way, I just don't speak those languages. So good question, man. That's what I do, Frank. I would make sure they say it and have it for you. But here's the thing, Frank, you if you have a heavily worded script that's of mostly a different language or a lot, you've got to add that into your price, because the difficulty of, we all know that, 100 words of a general commercial is a lot different than 100 words of 50% in a different language. Right? The difficulty is unbelievably different. So you have to price that accordingly, but you can only do that if you monitor or you look at the script first. So that's why it's important. And then you say, okay, listen, now if somebody orders it, you don't have that luxury, that's fine. Then you need to go back, okay? And you can then use the resolution center as well and say, hey, I'm going to need more time to complete this. I don't speak this language. Now, you can also add an FAQ about that if you find, Frank, that you're just getting a lot of that work. Do you know what I mean? I need, if your script has, more than, 10% or 5% words that are in a different language, please add, I'm going to add more time, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something that if you're getting all of this, to add something into that. But I would just think proactive, so that when it happens, you're already ready. You could even add a lightning response. Please make sure to include all of the pronounce, the way to, or files on how to pronounce these words. Do you know what I'm saying? All right. Great question. That happens. Pain in the butt. It's tough. Okay, let's see. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer. B-Dog at 45. They probably do what YouTube does, which is compress the heck out of the videos, yeah, and save space on the servers. I'm sure that's exactly what it is. Voiceover Angela. I have narrated museum audio walkthroughs for a museum in North Korea. The buyer sends me audio samples of the words in his language. Yes. Yep. Let's see. Eric, Russian read must have really been awful, because who remember 237 files? It was just a lot, and they spent a lot of time recording, all those files. Let's see. Stay safe, everyone, and have a great weekend. Well, thank you, Walter. You too. Great questions, you guys. Let's see. Was there any questions over here on Instagram? We got Microphone Rocky join. Walter, what's up? Ruby. I remember. Let's see. We got Ali Alwanizzi. Sorry, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Alwanizzi. Maybe that Alwanizzi. I don't know, man. Sorry about that. Let's see. The man with the voice. It's good to have you guys. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Any other comments? Great questions today. These are some real deal questions when you get in the meat of working with people on Fiverr, because I know for me, 60 to 65% of all my business is still from overseas, even though the most of my business from one country by far comes from the USA, but total still more of my business comes from overseas and people who speak English as a second or a third language. So, that is something to consider. Also, by the way, just on a quick note, that is something to consider when you write your stuff. I always say make sure you write in like a second or third grade manner, just because, like I said, a lot of people are seeing English as a second or third language. So you don't want to write these, super complicated terms and all this stuff where people will be like, I don't know what that says. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's just another little quick tip. All right, you guys. Hey, listen, thank you again for listening and watching today. If you get a chance and you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button. It's been great. Since we hit 1,000 people, we've been growing like hot cakes. I think we've already hit 1,150, something like that. We're moving up. So if you subscribe, I would appreciate it. Hit that notification button, because I am posting more videos. And please feel free to add any more. We have another comment that just came in right at the back end of it. What do we got? We got, how do you deal with communication timing when there's a 10-hour time difference? I lose some more hair. No, the reality is that we can't do anything about it. We can't do anything about it. And when you're starting out, it's tough. I think when I started on Fiverr, it trained me to unfortunately keep my phone everywhere I went, put the notification on, and as soon as the notification went off, I was on it. And at first, it was cool because that notification bell was like heavenly, right? But then after a while, it creeps up on you with you realize that you really do have to respond. And what's interesting is I'll never forget quick story about when I was starting on Fiverr. I had gotten a request. I was so excited, right, to do a job. And I was like, oh my God, somebody wants me to do a job, right? And I let about, I don't know, 10 minutes go by because I was 10, 15 minutes because I was thinking about how much to charge them and all the one. This is when I was just first starting, right? And I send them back a message, right? It was about 15 minutes, only 15 minutes. I'll never forget this. They messaged me back and said, sorry, too late. Somebody else already picked up the job. 15 minutes. I never forgot that. And I do think at this point still, I respond so quickly to people that even, pretty much every day, at least once a day, I still get, wow, thank you for responding so fast. All the time. And it's because of that it just dawned on me, I've got to respond faster than everybody else too. Because I'm not just competing, because some of these people will go on there and they'll message a bunch of people and say whoever gets back to me first. All right. And I wanted the job, and I never forget that. So, you can either hate it, which, now I'm like, leave me alone. It's awful, I know, but I'm like, please stop. Can you all message me at one time and then I don't deal with it for the rest of the day? But, that's, because then dealing with messages can become a full-time job. But then at night, when you're just starting out and you're going to sleep, it doesn't help because someone messages you, you don't answer it, you wake up in the morning, it's been 6 hours, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this awful score. But fortunately, Fiverr averages it out. So the more messages you get that you answer under an hour, it will average out the longer ones. So that's what happens to me. And sometimes, all honesty, my response time goes up and down because of that, But when people message me during the day, I do my very best to respond under an hour. And when I'm sleeping, I don't worry about it because it is what it is. I can't do anything about it now. So that would be my suggestion to you. But I do have kind of a sore taste or bad taste in my mouth from that because of that first experience I had. All right, let's see. Hey, Anthony, I submitted a question if you have time to get to it. Absolutely, man. Sorry, where is the... Can you say the I'm sorry, man. What was the question? Wait. There's a question. Oh, neat. Sorry. So I guess there's a thing on Instagram where there's actually a place where there's a little question thing. Sorry, man. I didn't even know that existed, but I do now. Thanks. It says, I currently record my work with the means I currently possess. How would you recommend I get a professional reel? Okay. So when I first started out, great question. When I first started out, I'll never forget, I was like, man, I need a demo, right? We all realize we need a demo. It is. You demo samples, you got to have something to show to people, right? It's our product. So, but I started to look around at first and I was thrown back by how expensive everything was. Then, I contacted a couple people, I sent things to them and they're like, I mean, this is what I got. I got, well, you're super talented, but I don't think you're quite ready for a demo yet. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay. And I'm so happy I got that advice when I first started many years ago. And basically, because I've worked with a lot of people where I do demos for, and, unfortunately, there maybe the acting is not quite ready to produce the type of demo I know they want to produce. So anyway, so to make your question, is that when you first start out, there was another thing too. I'll never forget this. This actually came from Earl Hall. And I remember this was years and years ago. He was, I think he had said something about, do produce a demo or produce something. You don't want to get some, it wasn't just Earl, it was many other people, I think, but Earl is one of them. You don't want to go to a studio, right? Get this super expensive, wonderful demo. And then when someone hires you from it, I think this is actually probably Bill DeWeese as well. And yeah, I think it was Bill DeWeese as well who said this. But, you don't want to put together this massive, professional, expensive demo and then someone hire you. And then what you give them is nothing like the demo sounds because you created something, somebody made something for you that you couldn't recreate. And that stuck with me for a while. So I vowed at that point, and after I talked to a lot of people, that I was going to produce my demos myself because I always wanted to make sure that what anybody heard from me, they would get. There was no false advertising. Okay. Now, some people agree with this. Some people disagree with this. Okay. And that's okay as well. But I think it's safe to say, especially in our environment now, that we're not going to studios. People aren't going to studios right now. They're not by a long shot. More and more, all these studios have closed. People are at home. More like the home business is growing even more as voice actors, right? We know this. Veterans who worked in studios their whole life are now opening their own home studios. Okay, so it's more important now than ever, I think, to be able to produce what you can produce. Okay, and it pushes you to get better. So that's why I actually am able, Al, I'm able now to do demos for other people because I spent such a long time working on trying to make my demos better. And there's also a piece of artistry there as well, which, is I'm fortunate that I've been a director and I've done hundreds of plays and directed hundreds of plays as well. And I love the artistry of it as well and telling a story with your demo, because it's not just enough to do the production aspect of it and make it a high quality production, but there's also a story there with your demo. What are you saying? Again, I know I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but the story underneath the story, right? What is the story you're also telling? There's more to it than just putting, spots with effects and music, right? And copy. There's also how you put a demo together from beginning to end. What does it make you think about the person who you're hiring? Does it connect? Is it inspiring? What's happening in the world right now? A lot of people I'm working with demos right now, we're a lot of what we talk about is, well, you know what? Is it relevant to what's happening in the world? Because you don't want to get a demo and be like, buy now, it's a blowout sale. I mean, that's not what you want to be putting on your demo right now. That's just not what people are doing, right? An example, selling cars, a normal, you're not going to say, come on down to Al's car shop. No one's going down to Al's car shop, right? They're not doing that. So it's important that we are aware of what is happening. You might be a person who say that doesn't matter, but see, I just don't think that. I think it matters a lot. I think it matters. All of it matters. Every little piece of your demo or everything that we do. That's why I'm such a big advocate of filling out every part of your of your profiles, of your websites, of everything, because every little piece matters. And the thing that separates us, Al, and everybody else that's watching, from people that are super professional and super successful and the people who are mediocre is your attention to detail. Your attention to detail is everything. All of those little things do matter. They matter a lot. And we all notice them. We all notice when someone's paid attention to detail, and we notice when someone is not. And it makes a difference. Okay? So I hope that helps in answering your question. I would start off by you doing your very best to produce what you can. But there might come a point where you will need to work with somebody. Okay, just to help you get better from where you are right now, and that's acceptable too. Okay, because maybe not everybody is going to be able to move forward. I mean, did I cheat a little bit? It might have been because I had, I have a bachelor's and master's in fine arts. I've done live music for a good period of my life. So, the transition to recorded music was still a huge difference. I mean, live and record is completely opposite. For those people who do live music and recorded and we do recorded, voiceovers know what I'm talking about. It's different, right? The dynamics of live, mixing while you're live and people doing it is completely different than when we're recording. But I still didn't have as steep, I think, as steep as a learning curve maybe as some other people did. Or at least I put in a lot of work on trying to figure it out. So best of luck to you, my friend, and I hope I'm glad that makes sense. Great question. Got me off on a tangent. All right, let's see. I remember early AP interviews, Walter says, where you said you are a light sleeper and would work with customer in the middle of the night. Yeah, I lied about being a light sleeper, but it was more that I was at that time so passionate about growing my business that I was enthusiastic about not sleeping, if that makes sense, because I was so excited about it. Now, if I don't sleep, it's more because it's like insomnia. But at the time, I was really. Now I think after 3-4 years, you start to get tired. It weighs on you. But at the time, and even now, I'll put out. I'm up at 2 a.m. again working because it is what it is. All right. I love what I do and I love this business. And sometimes it's all I want to do. Good thing. B-Doggy45. I missed a message one night and my response time went through the roof. Yeah, it happens. Maestro Wilson, very true. I think about that all the time. Eric, let's see. At Anthony, 100% disagree. It's kind of like having a dynamite resume, blowing the prospect away, then not being able to measure up. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. Walter, Earl Hall will be missed from the VO community. Absolutely. Wish him the best. B-Doggy45, random question, but do you have any thoughts on the Cinco Mic D2 microphone? I hear it's comparable with the MKH 416. Yeah, so good question, B-Doggy45. I actually recommend that microphone. I know we all saw that wonderful comparison that Booth Junkie had done with the 416. And I actually, if you go to a VO's journey, I have a link under the VO equipment store on there that you can, it's a link to the Cinco. Great mic. It's literally 1/4 the price. I think it's around 200 or so, 200 and something, whereas the 416 is like, 1,000. So, it's really 20 point, like it's a great mic and I recommend it. I have some of my students who have purchased it and they love it. So yeah. So I think it's a good mic and it's a great place to start. And my personal opinion, see what you see here, this is my editing station. This is not where I record my voiceovers. That's in the booth behind me, as you guys actually know. And I use a shotgun mic, but I love the idea of people using shotgun mics when they're first starting out because of the hypercardioid pattern, right, that comes off the microphone, so that we're trying to eliminate, depending on how decked out your space is, right? We're trying to eliminate reverb, extra noise, and issues. So the pattern that comes off your mic, I'm like doing all this stuff with my microphone sound. The pattern that comes out, it's the pickup pattern that comes out of your microphone matters, right? So with a shotgun microphone, all right, and that one too, you have a hypercardio or a hyper pickup pattern. So it means it's very narrow, which means you don't get any extra sound from around here. And it allows you to get closer to the mic. This is important. With a super narrow pickup pattern, it allows you to get closer to the mic, which then helps reverb too, because reverb's not coming through you. You know what I mean? Because you're absorbing that if it's going back, and since there's not a high matter of pickup pattern around it, none of that's being picked up. So that's why I do like recommending shotgun mics, but up to the point before the D2 came out, there really wasn't great mics available. You know what I mean? Really, that matched that high number as the MK or the 416. So yes, I do recommend it. You found it for $150. That's awesome. I'm buying the Cinco mic D2. Hey, buy it from my website. I mean, it's through Amazon, but it might be an affiliate link. I actually ordered it a few days ago. I found it on sale at eBay. Maestro says yes. Awesome. All right, you guys, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wonderful questions as always. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, if you want to join Fiverr Elite, Would love to have you. I think we have like 56 people in the group right now. It's absolutely wonderful, amazing community, and yeah, it's just helping a lot of people with their businesses and growing. So see you guys if you're in that group tomorrow. If not, I'd love to have you. But other than that, please be safe. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend. And as always, my heart and thanks and prayers go out to our frontline workers. Thank you. Bye, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Goodbye.